is if you're doing with regular dumbbells and barbells, something like a floor press, uh, short of powerlifting application for lockouts, it's just a fucking terrible exercise as far as we know for hypertrophy. And there's a laundry list of exercises that are also fucking terrible that people do all the time that just may not thought through. There is a slight caveat to that where some back exercises, there is some scapular retraction and arching that occurs at the top that actually activates different muscles that you want, like the rhomboids. So some of that still has utility, like cambered bar rowing hits your back in a different way than just the top range, bottom range. So there's maybe some stuff to that. But for a lot of exercises, like when people do tricep extensions like this, it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? At least do a full range of motion. If not, just stop and here and go here. A lot of people like ask me my opinion about what do you think about like rope extensions? Like the fucking worst exercise ever. And they're like, why? I'm like, I don't give a fuck about this. I care about this. On the rope, you don't get any of that. So first of all, that. Second of all, machine designers, and I see this all the time. You're building machines, and if you're listening to this and you work for a machine manufacturer, do stop making machines that prevent you from going deep. At least have an adjustable pad that lets you go ultra deep on every single exercise. And two, probably preferentially bias the machine towards two things. One, having an eccentric in general that is 20% harder to do than the concentric if you're able to design that. And secondly, make sure that the bottom position is the hardest position at the very fucking least. Good God. Like there's so many the pendulum squat as designed is hardest at the top and easiest at the bottom. It pains me. It's still a decent exercise for a variety of other things. Good God, what a giant shortcoming. And lastly, if you're tying bands around some shit like bands around the hack squat, I think it's just wildly out of touch with literature and what the fuck are you doing? So the era of to me it's this so far with my intentionally, purposefully way too conservative take, because I think you guys are right and length the partials are the future. But my personally conservative take, being conservative, is the following. If you're missing out on the deep stretch, you're fucking making a mistake. And there's not a lot of nuance there as far as I'm concerned. Just this last part, should you stop doing it? Should you just do this? Likely. But I'm not willing to go all in yet. But if you are doing this instead of this fucking shit right here, wow, what the fuck are you doing? With the stretch literature, with the Langton Parsons literature, with the forearm versus top end partial literature, stimulus to fatigue. Everyone we train tons of pros on the RP channel. You guys see that, tons of bodybuilders. We're one trick pony at RP. We take people and put them into lengthened partial positions they've never been in, and they go, "Oh my fucking God, I've never felt my quads like that." And it's like, well, what the fuck have you been doing this whole time? Of course it was. Of course it was going to hypertrophy you more. You could have felt that in your own pumps and soreness from deep stretches. And I think the time for those three things: stop doing exercises that are intentionally partial at the top position. Machine designers make fucking better machines. Prime machines are great, but they have those two other hooks that are pointless. There's the three positions. I mean, just make the one with the stretch and that's it. Give me the rest. And then also, like, if you're putting bands on stuff and chains on stuff and your goal is hypertrophy, you just really have to think through what's going on. Jared and I filming for RP at like Dragon's Lair, there's so many times you have to rip the green band off the hack squat and be like, why is this here? And we know why it's here. It's because people like to lift a lot more weight than they really can, and they don't like to get humbled. And also, they've never properly vetted their technique, so their knees hurt at the bottom. That's really the only reason people do it. They just make up a bunch of shit anyway. But I figured I didn't want to let you guys go without a good old classic Dr. Mike rant. There you go, Steve.